Are nice people. On the first question, they give us all different possibilities, and they're going to teach us things about the game as we answer it. We're going to pick out a condition. We know that S is red and has to be included, and we look down and answer D doesn't have S. So we cross it out, and if it was on paper and pencil, I'd cross out the entire answer. Then I realize that U and V just don't like each other, and answer A has U and V, so I'll cross that right out. Should I stop? Look what happens. Answer B has U but doesn't have V. Answer C has U but doesn't have V. And answer E has U and it has V. So if I had stopped at answer A, I would have gotten down and I would have had two seemingly right answers, and it would have looked like I had to go through all the conditions again. So you pick a condition, you go through all 5 answers. Sometimes you'll find 2, possibly 3 answers that will be eliminated by a single condition. Now we've got B and C. And we say, what's the same? Well, they both have S, and then it turns out they both have L. So L is okay. He could wear mauve. And then they have a P in both of them. Okay. And then they have a U in both of them. Now look what happened. I didn't have to have this L here, but I just did because he's a nice guy, and they could go alternately there. And then what's the difference? Answer C has I, and I has to be green, and there's no room for him here. We've got to have somebody to volunteer to do mauve. And we look up here, and we say, who could do mauve? And we realize we've got T. And T is a beautiful guy because he doesn't have any conditions on him. Nobody hates him. He doesn't care what color he wears. He doesn't even care if he's there. He's a free agent. He's a floater. And he says, sure, I could show up and answer B, and I could do T. So our answer is B to the first question. We could have a mauve T and a mauve L or U. It doesn't matter. So that's what the nerds do, is they teach us things. They say, well, you could have L or U here, mauve, and then you look over here and you say, well, V really doesn't care about color. So V could be a mauve as well. But now look what happens. U has a lot of enemies. Now don't take this personally. But V doesn't like U. And L and U, only one of them are going to show up in mauve. Now maybe they're actually friends, and I say both of us are not going to wear mauve. Okay. So that's going to teach us something about the next question, because what happens? On the very next question, they kick out our friend T. They said if T is not included, they say, oh, that's terrible. Now we got to have this thing go on here. We got to get 2 people to do mauve. And we realize everybody hates U. Sorry. Well, U goes. And it turns out we've got our answer. It says, then the display must contain each of the following except. And if we do the world of could be, must be, the one that's out is the one that must be out. And we don't have to find the others, but the nerds are nice people. We don't know how nice they're going to be until we give them a chance. So we've got a mauve V, and we've got a mauve U. Oh, we can't have a mauve U. They already told us that. But we do have a mauve V and a mauve L. Okay. And then we've got our G, I. And then we've got our yellow P. Now, think about what happens with I and P here. These are essentially equivalent answers. They don't have to be in the sketch, but they don't have to be in the same way, because they each have a color. So essentially they're equivalent answers. As you mumble and stumble through the games on the LSAT, equivalent answers becomes a very powerful strategy. Because they're equivalent answers, you can't pick them both. You can't say they're both right. So since they're equivalent, they both must be wrong. Here they're both wrong because they must be, but they're still wrong answers. And then, of course, we still got our S. So we found answer D, and then we took advantage of the fact that the other things must be true, and we filled in our sketch to make sure that we had a nice, pretty sketch. 14. Which of the following is a pair of toys that could be included in the display together? And you say, oh, this is terrible. I've got no clues. They're just all over the place. What am I going to do? And you say, the nerds are nice people. You've already got a couple of sketches here, don't we? Answer A. Could you have a green L and a mauve V. You say, well, we just had a mauve V here, and this L person doesn't have to be mauve, so L could be over here, couldn't they? And then V wouldn't go along with U very well, but he sort of would go along with T, because T is a friendly guy again, isn't he? Oh, isn't that close to what we had right up here? Couldn't we have played off our original sketch and said we already had a purple V and we had another green person? We know we got a red S person right here, okay? That could be true, and the answer is A. When things look bleakest on the LSAT, very often the answer is A. Should we tell nobody about the other 4 wrong answers? Nobody cares. 15. If the display includes a yellow T. Well, we got a yellow T here. But what really happened is the same thing as when he left, is that he's not mauve. So it means these same people are going to have to be mauve because T is not. And then we get L and V. And then we got S. We don't know about this person, and we're glad because we're going to leave it blank. This is a word that could be, must be. Then, which of the following must be true? And you say, well, this must be true. It's either an L or a V mauve. And you look, it's answer E, a mauve V. And you say, when the world of could be, must be kicks in the best, very often the answer is E, because you don't want to tell nobody about A, B, C, and D, because nobody cares. This is the must be, this is the could be. That's not going to be the answer. Notice, they both must be. So they couldn't give you a mauve L and a mauve V because they both be must be's and they could both be right answers. So they only gave you one of them. So that's the other side of the equivalent answers. If they only give you one part of the equivalent answers, that's why they had to, because it was a right answer. Now, question 16. If we've got an I and a U. Well, I, we know has to be green. And we don't really know about U, but you've got to get those mauve people out of the way, and we know that V is gone. And we know there can't be L and U, so T has to be there. Because it doesn't have to be there. V is gone, and we've still got this empty space. That makes things more obvious, because then the display must contain which of the following. What happened? Our friendly floater volunteered to be a mauve again because everybody was wandering away from U and L and V, and all of a sudden, answer A, which must be true, a mauve T. There's your answer. You don't have to tell nobody about the other 4 wrong answers because nobody cares. Now, if the display includes 2 green toys, oh, there's one right there, isn't it? 2 green toys. Then which of the following could be true? It's a could be question, isn't it? Don't we have our friendly little floater that's going to volunteer one more time on a could be question and says, I could wear green, answer B. That's the dinosaur game. You had 9 minutes to do the whole game. We've been talking for 13 minutes, and we went to England.